game is over, and KVNU Game Day continues with Aggie Call. Your chance to talk about today's game. Sponsored by Alpine Home Medical, Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, Les Olson Company, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, My Mattress, Elements Restaurant, Cache Valley Bank, Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Cache Valley Ear, Nose and Throat, White Pine Funeral Home, S.E. Needham Jewelers, Cache Valley Bank Mortgage, Castelite, and LSS Insurance. KVNU Game Day with the voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis.
Also joined by Eric Franson and Ryan Bohm, the former Aggie running back, again, to talk about things after the game. This is your show. Again, a chance for you to join in and talk about it, make comments. There are a lot of things you can talk about today as Utah State loses to Boise State. 27-3 is the final score. And again, guys across the way from me. And also, incidentally, we appreciate Beehive Grill for being one of our sponsors of our Aggie Call today as well. We'll be hearing again from Will down at Beehive Grill, where they've got some really good deals for you after the game. And again, maybe a good meal might be about the best thing you can get out of this Saturday, because the football game didn't go the way we wanted. Let's face it, guys, when you get this Utah State football team and you get behind, we have seen in 3 games we haven't had to worry about it. You get to halftime and we're behind, and you're thinking, okay, the Aggies can get back into it. But those early stages of the third quarter, when Utah State again decided to do a fake punt and some other things that didn't work as well, and again, that the fake punt led to 17-0 rather than, again, a 10-0 ball game. It really changed the whole thing, and then it just wasn't any magic to be had in the second half like we've seen in the other games. Let's start with Ryan Bohm first.
Yeah, I mean, that's a disappointing game. We hype it up. We play well the last 3 weeks, and then we come in against an opponent that isn't what they've been in the past. Boise, I mean, that's a beatable team. And we just made way too many mistakes and, just didn't play well enough. So it's disappointing. It's nothing earth-shattering. It's nothing like, oh, now, we see that we're not a good team. It's none of that. It's just disappointing that we didn't come out and play better.
Yeah. Well, Boise State's a good team, and you're right. They are a beatable team. They've shown that already this season. I don't think they did a lot that just really blew the socks off today. They were steady. They did some creative things trying to mix up their running game because they really struggled with that.
The only way they could run the ball was the creative part of running it, which did give them enough cushion in the game offensively, I think.
But Utah State cost themselves this game more than anything with the penalties, the miscues, the just failing to get points on the board when they're in the red zone. This was as much about Utah State just making some key mental errors as much as Boise State did. I mean, give them some credit for their secondary and how well they had defended some of the passes. But, man, this game was as much on Utah State as anything.
Especially when it's 10-0. You've had 3 trips in the red zone in the first half. This team had been 11 for 12 scoring in the red zone. And even if you just get field goals out of that and it's 10-9, you're feeling like you've done something. And that was the major deal today, is this team, again, against Air Force. They scored touchdowns when they had a chance to score touchdowns. And today, they get in there. And, Ryan, we struggled every time we got in the red zone with our own mistakes. And then with our play calling seemed to be kind of strange, too.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the play calling today. I felt like early on, we were moving the ball. We could get that slant, that inside pass all day. And then toward the middle of the game, maybe the second and third quarter, we got extremely predictable. We kept going, zone read on first down, zone read on second down, and then all of a sudden you're on 3rd and 8, and we haven't got a first down yet to get our hurry up. That's just not a good down and distance for us. And I just didn't feel like there was any creativity in that middle section of the game. And then you're switching quarterbacks in and out, and there's still no creativity. We end up with 435 yards, which is mind-blowing. But, if you look at it, you say, in years past, a Boise team comes in and they just roll us. Mm-hmm. They roll us on offense. They roll us on defense.
We have no answer.
We can't stop them. We can't do any. We can't move the ball. That wasn't this game at all.
We had answers at least as far as moving it, but we couldn't score anything.
We just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. Turnovers were key. I mean, obviously we can't fumble on our 15-yard line. We can't throw a pick in the end zone.
That was a bad play by Logan Bonner.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, he's already in a spot where he just needed to throw the ball away, and he throws it towards a bunch of people in the end zone.
Two PIs in the end zone.
Yeah. So I agree with Eric. This is as much us beating ourselves as getting beat by Boise, which is, again, why I feel like it's disappointing.
It really is disappointing, again, to go back and think. We had 423 yards in this game before we scored a point. And again, we were the third best offense in the nation, and we didn't get to our numbers there. But by the end of the game, we ended up with 443 yards. After we finally scored a point, we got 20 points. When we finally cut it back.
20 yards.
We got 20 yards the rest of the game after we finally had scored to make it 17-3 at the start of the fourth quarter. It's not over yet, even at that point. So, again, it was a fizzle in the fourth quarter where we've had great stuff in the fourth quarter up until now.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the early start, if it was the hype about national TV, big conference rival in town. I don't know, but Utah State just the focus was really they really struggled with the focus today, and not just the players. I was a little surprised with some of the play calls, the fake punt deep in your own just in your own part of the field just didn't make a lot of sense. Trying to outthink themselves instead of just playing straightforward and making things happen. So frustrating game today.
The fake punt comes, guys, has to be one of the worst decisions, and it looked like it was called the way the guys are running all over and setting up, and A.J. Bonfachong, who's one of the guys who's a protector, runs right out and tries to block the guy and missed him on that play. It looked, I don't know if the punter, our formation was more strength right than left, and he goes to the left side. I don't know what going on there, but it looked like it was called.
Yeah, I don't think it was improvised. I think it was called, and I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it in the time of the game. Obviously, I don't like it on our 20-yard line. And then, again, where's the creativity? If you're going to run a fake punt, you got guys crossing, you're throwing the ball, you're doing a reverse, all types of stuff. And that was zero creativity. In fact, the punter ended up going the other way. He went away from his blockers.
And he didn't look like he was going to run very well when he ran the ball either. And Stevens, a guy from Australian rules football, that's a tougher game, but I don't know if it's a running game or whatever. So, again, a lot to talk about today to break it down. We'll hopefully hear from players and coaches, again, from the stadium in a while. And we'd love to hear from you because we know a lot of you were there today. Great crowd. Ryan, you were there. Atmosphere-wise, we couldn't ask for a whole lot better. And a nice day to have the game at home, too.
Yeah, beautiful first quarter. And then there was nothing to cheer about.
Tompkins caught 4 passes in the first quarter, didn't catch a pass the rest of the game.
Yeah, so it was a great atmosphere to begin. It got really quiet in the middle of the game because there was just nothing to cheer for.
Mm-hmm. So just about a sold-out stadium, and again, we have to bow down. Boise State has now won. Isn't it incredible? They have won 22 consecutive conference openers right now, going back. That's how you're a championship program.
Yep.
I mean, because everybody shoots at them like crazy, and they've been able to not lay an egg even when they come in. They did, their coach, and we need to take a break. We got a lot to talk about. We need to take a break, okay? We need to settle down here. Again, Beehive Grill, we appreciate them joining with us today. You'll hear from them as we continue on. And in fact, let's go down there to Will as we take our first break. 27-3 and 753-5868. 753-5868. KVNU is our phone number.
Hey, we are live at the Beehive Pub and Grill, 255 South Main Street. Al, we were watching the game here, and if you and others are like us and you just need to wash the bad taste out of your mouth from this game, hey, stop on by Beehive Grill this afternoon. They have just released a brand new shrimp menu that Chef Dustin is really excited about. It includes a BLT shrimp flatbread, artichoke spinach fondue, mozzarella Gulf shrimp, heirloom tomato, hickory bacon, along with a choice of a side, or they've got the barbecue shrimp Cobb salad. And on top of that, peaches are in season, especially over on the other side of the Wellsvilles right now. And so they have got a special peach dessert right now. A couple of them, actually, with fresh local peaches. Come on by. Of course, they've got their drink menu, their full menu. You can enjoy a little something to try to wash the bad taste out of our mouth after today's game. We're at Beehive Pub and Grill. It's 255 South Main. Come on by.
Ascent Aesthetics is a premier aesthetic practice. Doctors Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette of Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat are proud to offer you a professional aesthetics team. The Ascent team is passionate about education, best techniques, products, procedures, and services. If you're looking for help with Botox, fillers, microneedling, laser hair removal, medical-grade facials, or skincare, Ascent will help you feel confident, beautiful, and refreshed. See which Ascent service is right for you and learn more at AscentAesthetics.com. That's AscentAesthetics.com.
Getting engaged? For more than a century, SC Needham Jewelers has been selling diamond engagement rings. Known for our quality and impeccable service, you'll enjoy a relaxed and comfortable atmosphere. Choose from an expansive collection of natural and lab-grown diamonds. You'll find a beautiful diamond at an affordable price. Then we can mount it in her favorite ring. You'll get SC Needham quality at internet pricing. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. SC Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
The Riverwoods Conference Center is the center in Cache Valley for business, entertainment, and special events. Whether you're hosting a large or small event, you have the choice of inside with all the new modern interior renovations or outside along the scenic banks of the beautiful Logan River. The Riverwoods is an ideal choice, offering seamless planning, easy catering coordination, and will make your event as professional or as beautiful as desired. To book your next event or for more info, visit theriverwoods.com or call 435-750-5151. We'll see you at the Riverwoods.
This is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. We often hear people say, I wish I could use White Pine, but I've already paid for arrangements elsewhere. Know that if you've already pre-planned with a different funeral home, you can still call White Pine. If you are being told you'll lose up to 25% of your money, White Pine will provide a discount equal to any fee for switching. If you have any questions, please stop by for a visit or give us a call. We would love to meet you and explain in more detail.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
The Aggies are always number one here. It's KVNU Game Day with the voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis, Eric Frenson, and Ryan Bohm.
All right, let's get to the game, and we'd love to have you join with us. We're going to hear again from players and coaches from up at the Stadium. Mitch Henline up there to get us the recordings of the post game, and he'll get them back to us. We got Will Feelright again down at Beehive Grill on our Aggie Call post game today, and our game day coverage on the Fan and KVNU. Quarter scoring went 10-0 Boise first quarter, 0-0 second quarter, and then a 7-0 Boise third quarter. In the last quarter, 10-3. So again, doesn't sound devastating when we all add that all up, 27-3. But what I did hear this week is Andy Avalos saying that they self-scouted after the UTEP game when they felt like they had a chance a little bit themselves. But I really think they self-scouted themselves a whole lot more after not getting much against Oklahoma State, how they had the lead in that game. And they brought their coordinator to the sidelines, and they really did kind of revamp their running game. Their leading rusher coming into the game had 61 yards individually in 3 games. And today, they didn't have a great runner, except for Bachmeier's their leading runner on the day, but they used lots of different ways. And again, you got to hand it to them. They mixed up their plays enough to give Utah State some fits defensively, even though in the trenches, I don't really feel like the Aggies got pushed around like they have some years against Boise State.
No, I mean, if you told me that we were going to hold them to 435 yards and 27 points, I'd say we won the game.
But we had to score points. That was our big deal.
I would have told you, yeah, we're going to win that game with that score line. So I don't put it on the defense. We had a few blown coverages that were bad, but other than, maybe 3 plays where we just totally blew coverages, I mean, they had 148 yards rushing. Mm-hmm. Boise State comes in here and we hold them to 148 yards rushing. Again, we win that game.
With their quarterback as the leading rusher?
Yeah, we win that game. Yeah. So, you look at the stat line. This is a perfect example of the stat line does not matter. Because if you just look at the stat line, you're like, hey, Utah State's in this game and probably wins this game just according to a few of those things.
9 different guys ran the ball for Boise State. Their rushing attack has been really very average, below average. They tried to mix it up, and effective enough. It kept Utah State on their heels a little bit, just trying to figure out who's going to get the ball this time.
And they are not a great rushing defensive team like they have been. And we had 235 yards of rushing in the game. If you go in against Boise State, we've never been able to run the ball against Boise State. I mean, we had a couple of years where we had 400 yards passing. Those are the Jordan Love years, and we still lost those games. But today, I mean, look at, what's interesting, though, is to go back and chart the early part of the game and, again, see that we were able to convert on third down plays early in the in the game, and then we couldn't convert third downs later in the game when we had a chance, and we missed on that fourth down in the first half where we didn't get it, and they eventually got it, and they didn't score on that possession, but then they're still up already at that point by a score of 10-0 before we they were up 3-0 at the time when we didn't get the conversion there. But we've got chances in there to do some things when we're converting third downs, and then all of a sudden we couldn't convert them after a while.
Well, part of that's because of what they did on first and second downs. I mean, they were facing third and longs a lot there in that second half.
Yeah, a little more than we did in the first half, some.
Al, we've got some questions coming through on our text line.
Okay, and mention the text line
Just
number.
remember, if you want to text in, well, we'd love to have you call in, too, but you can text in as well, 435-339-0321 to text in. And a couple of questions coming in here from 6543. Why were we fielding punts inside the 5-yard line, and how many tackles did Rice have today?
Okay, we don't have official stats on tackles yet. We won't get those till later. But I mean, the one was a safety, really. I mean, we got a break there on that play. It could have been 2 more points against us.
Yeah, he needs to put his heels on the 5-yard line, and you do not back up under any circumstance. That's like punt returner 101. So that was just Nathan losing his mind on a play, and it cost us a ton. I mean, that's another example of us just beating ourselves. If he just lets that ball go, we get it on the 20. Instead, we're on the 1. Going 99 yards happens 5% of the time, maybe. I mean, you just don't do that. So it's hard enough to go from the 20. You probably scored 25% of the time or something. So that was just another example of our guys just making mistakes that ended up costing us a football game.
Yep, it was really bad.
Well, and he fielded a terrible punt against Air Force, too, which is, I mean, Jordan Nathan's he's a heads-up guy. He's been playing this game for a long time. He's been with the Aggies for a long time. He's been on these punt returns for a long time. Just lacking a little bit of that mental sharpness that cost the Aggies too many times today. They've been able to overcome it in their other games so far this season, but, man, not today against a defense like Boise State.
You know, it's interesting. That was actually one of our longest drives of the day. We did take the ball from the 1. We stopped at the 18, and that's where we missed the field goal towards the end of the first half when we had a chance to maybe cut it down to 10-3 even at that point. And all that's where Derek Wright caught that second down pass and went like 44 yards. I mean, the Aggies had huge big plays today compared to Boise State by the end of this game. And all, but again, not taking advantage of it. Again, Devin Tompkins, did they really go after him with their pass coverage? I mean, eventually their pass coverage guys did knock away some passes and deny, but Tompkins catches 4 in the first quarter and does not catch a pass the rest of the game.
I felt like we could have diced him up all day. And again, for whatever reason, we just stopped throwing the ball. Again, I'm not a fan of the zone read. I really don't like that type of running game. And we're so predictable. When we get a new possession, we run zone read on first down. If we get 1 or 2 yards, almost 100% of the time, we're going to run the same play when we flip the back to the other side. Mm-hmm. And then we get 1 more yard, and then we're behind the sticks. Like, that's not the offense that I want to see, and it's extremely frustrating. I mean, we call a timeout. We're first and goal on the 5. We have to burn a timeout, and then that's the play. That's the most creative play that we can come up with is a zone read, which we get 0 yards, and then we're behind the sticks again.
The other thing, though, we burn a timeout there, first and goal at the 1-yard line when the game still can be decided, and they're going to score more than often from the 1-yard line eventually, and we burn a timeout right there.
Yeah, early in the third quarter?
Yeah. Why? I don't unless you only had like 7 guys on the field, because most teams are going to score from the 1-yard line if they're first and goal with 4 downs to go on that play. Why burn a timeout right there too?
I feel like we're trying to be like these spread offenses almost try to get too tricky when you don't need to be that tricky. I'm fine if we do a little read with Peasley and then get him on the. But whatever happened to lining up and giving it to your back and saying, you can't stop us 4 times. We're going to get 4 yards. Like, what? Alabama still does that. And guess what? They win every game for a decade.
We averaged 5.6 a rush today.
5.6 yards a rush. Like, line up and run it down their throat on the 5-yard line.
Looked like in the third quarter, we're going to come out and do that like we did at other games, and then all of a sudden it kind of went away again.
Right, the offensive line was getting the push.
We did something all of a sudden with a penalty, or we did something that would get us off track.
Running game was working okay. A couple other comments.
Okay,
and,
again, the text line is...
Questions from 435-339-0321. We'd love to hear from you, too. You can call in, but this is the text line. This is from 2603. The moment seemed too big for our boys between playing Boise and being on CBS. Came across to me that we, mainly the offense, folded. Middle of the field was open for passes all game. And they exploited that in the first quarter really effectively, and then we didn't see it again until really that last offensive drive.
Yep.
And they started doing it again. So I don't know why they went away from it. Another one from 0609. Did we switch quarterbacks often? Seemed to cost us momentum.
Yeah, where are we at with that deal? Because, again, Bonner threw the interception, so you could tell that they were going to try Peasley in there. He came in a bad situation, and you can really tell. And, Ryan, you know a heck of a lot more about football than Eric and I. And we noticed when Peasley came in, it was kind of he looks one place. If it's not there, then he has to either take off running or do something else. Bonner does have a little more of the look around a little bit more to him. But again, that pass he threw towards the end zone should have never been thrown, and that ended up being a big play when we're at least in a position where we might get some points right there.
Yeah. I thought Peasley needed to come in. Bonner, you just can't make that throw. But I don't feel like we're utilizing Peasley the way that we should utilize him when he's in the game. His strength is, if we're just going to hand it off on a zone read, keep Bonner in there because he's a better passer. But if we're actually going to get Peasley out on the edge and commit to a zone read with the quarterback option, like we intentionally ran Bonner, I think 3 or 4 times. And he probably had 0 yards because he can't run. But how many times did we intentionally run Peasley? Maybe 2?
Yeah.
So again, what are we like? That's on coaches to me. You take a guy who can't run. You got Tom Brady out there. He gets 4 carries. And you have Michael Vick, and he gets 2 carries. Like what? That's unexplainable to me.
Let's see. What was the final box on the running game today? Bonner 3 carries, and Peasley had 5. Is where it ended up. Peasley had 5 for 9. Bonner had 3 for a -1. Remember, Peasley did have a 9-yard run in there, but then he did get the ball stripped away from him in the game. That will be negative stats for him in the running game. So, again, just lots of things for you to talk about. We'd love to have you call. We'd love to have you text in. Again, so that's 435-339-0321.
Correct.
Okay. And, again, our number is 753-KVNU. Come on, Aggie fans. You like to talk about the win last week. We got this one, and we got BYU coming up. Boise State, another loss to them. They now, 6 in a row against the Aggies, and they beat them 18 of the last 19 times we have played in the series. 753-5868, our phone number. We'll be right back after this, another break. We need to mention Riverwoods Conference Center is one of our sponsors, Cache Valley's location for all those great events. And you can follow Riverwoods Conference Center on Facebook and Instagram for the current calendar of the monthly things going on that you can be involved in down there.
News Talk KVNU Logan, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Sports Talk Radio, KLGN Logan, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
And we appreciate, again, Beehive Grill being our special sponsor of our Aggie game day today, post-game, as the Aggies lost 27-3 to Boise State.
Yeah, we're over here at Beehive Grill. A lot of Aggie fans coming over here looking for something positive for today, and they're finding it with the new Shrimp Fest menu that I was mentioning just a few minutes ago. I was talking to Kelsey, their manager. Chef Dustin just put this together. Shrimp is something you crave. You've got to try their brand new buffalo shrimp tacos. They are amazing. Or their spicy shrimp Caesar. They've also got the avocado shrimp toast. And to finish it off right now with it being peach season, how about this? Peach Napoleon. It's a house puff pastry, fresh peaches, vanilla pastry cream, or their peach upside down cake. Yeah, it's all right now here at Beehive Grill, where, it's a little bit of a somber mood with Aggie fans as we were watching the game as it finished up here on the big screens here in the bar. But, if you're looking for something to wash the bad taste out of your mouth from this game, come on down to Beehive Grill. Take advantage of their brand new shrimp menu and, of course, their drink menu here at the Beehive Grill, 255 South Main in Logan.
What is love? Love is what we live for. Love is timeless, never-ending. Love is when you say your name with hers and it has that special ring to it. At Jarek's Fine Jewelry, we know what love is. Our fine collection of engagement rings feature a variety of diamonds and colorful styles.
And if you can't find your perfect ring,
Jarek's Fine Jewelry will help custom design one that is the perfect fit. When it's love, it's Jarek's Fine Jewelry.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
This is Dave Simmons for Les Olson Company. Your team's in the locker room ready to get out there and play to win, but you see a player you don't recognize. They're wearing your jersey and even know your coach's name. But who are they? Would you let this stranger look at your team's playbook? That's exactly how phishing attacks work. In 2020, the number of phishing attacks against businesses doubled compared to the previous year. Don't take risks. Take action with the Les Olson Security Suite. Get your free network assessment at lesolson.com.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove was voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah in the fireplace retrofit category. With the government's wood and pellet investment tax credit in place right now, they can help you navigate the paperwork on select models up to a 26% tax credit. That covers everything to have a new wood or pellet unit installed. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272, online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Again, 27-3, the final score. Aggies, again, throughout most of the game had more yards than Boise State, and eventually they ended up with 8 more total offensive yards in the game. Utah State was 6 for 17 on third downs for the game. Last week, of course, was the amazing, 14 out of 21, I think, or something that they had against Air Force Academy and going for it and all. They were only 0 for 2 on fourth downs in this game. Aggies passed for about 7 yards of pass play and get about 6 yards of running play. But again, eventually, I thought it was 14 penalties. The final stats here now say 13 for 85. I don't know where they took off a penalty from something that was called earlier in the game. 3 turnovers to 1. The strip sack at the end ended up costing him the 2 interceptions by Boise State in the game, and the Broncos win this one. Again, the final score is 27-3. And, let's go a little positive if we can, because it wasn't very much positive today. I like Nick Henniger as a guy, as a person, and a hard player. And he had, I thought, a terrific game for Utah State defensively today.
I thought he had some great pursuit. I thought he had the big sack when they're in the end zone or in the red zone and threatening to maybe punch it into the end zone and pushes them back to force a field goal. Got his hand out there on a couple plays, so knocked the ball down. Yeah, Nick's a great senior leader, super senior leader for Utah State, and I thought he had a great game today.
I really thought we'd see more, maybe Aaron Vaughn's, and I think Henniger has kind of kept Vaughn's, and so Vaughn's has had to kind of play behind him a little bit more. And every once in a while, maybe they flip him over to Bonner's, the other side of the field. But I think Joyner has done a pretty good job on that other side for Utah State at times, too. So, like I said, in the trenches, it wasn't like Boise State was gashing Utah State inside. Oh, looks like we do have now the stuff for postgame from the stadium, and obviously we want to listen to that. The postgame stuff brought to you by S.E. Needham Jewelers. Again, remember, the state's oldest jewelry store where Utah gets engaged. And again, we obviously need to go to Coach Anderson first and hear what the coach had to say from this game. So, again, we will do that first right here as it loads in. So, this would be Coach Anderson. Here we go. Here's Coach Blake Anderson again. First loss as an Aggie coach after those 3 wins.
Obviously disappointed in the way we played. Thought the energy level was really good, but the execution was poor. Maybe offensively as bad as we've executed since the beginning of the season. So we had yards, but couldn't finish in the red zone, and just seemed like we had every little off-schedule type issue, false starts, busts up front, even a couple drops. Just couldn't maintain rhythm when we did get any kind of rhythm at all. Got to be proud of the defense and how they just kind of held in there and kept us in it, gave us a chance. Way longer than probably we deserved today with just how poorly we executed. When you play a good team, a good physical team that's built well, that has been in the fire and played some close games, you can't shoot yourself in the foot. I thought we did most of the day, and they capitalized on it and played much cleaner football than we did. So proud of the effort. I think our guys are playing hard. They didn't give up. Stayed positive even though it was bad and looked bad for most of the day. Apologize to the fans. Everybody came out, great crowd. Love the environment. We just didn't play well enough for them. We'll do better next week. So appreciate everybody coming out. If it doesn't change, we got to prepare on a short week for another really good football team, and we got to play better than we did today. But we just didn't execute. Bottom line, we just didn't play very well. We played bad football game, and it got exposed against a good football team. So got to get back to work. What questions do you have?
So, Coach, the offense seemed to move the ball really well up until around the 40, 35-yard line of Boise State. Like, what's going wrong, kind of between those two spots?
There's a ton of different things. Motion penalties today, some miscues between quarterback and wideouts, protectional issues. It wasn't any one particular thing. We just kind of fell apart. Give them credit. They got a good defense. They're built well. We knew they were. Felt like that physically they were the best defense we played since week one. And at times they exposed us. So it was not any particular thing. It was kind of a group of things that we got to fix.
You guys have shown big
Feel stuck with your finances?
Download
the app and feel what it's like to get your money right.
Clearly not the explosives we've had in previous games. They're built well. Their matchups are better than what we've seen. They matched up against us better than anybody we've played. We knew that was going to be the case. Yards were going to be hard to come by. We actually outgained them, but just didn't outscore them. You got to get points. Yards don't matter. I mean, yards stats for yards are worthless, to be honest with you, if you don't finish in the end zone. So we settled for field goals and did a poor job there of executing that. We we're 1 for 4 in the red zone. They were 5 for 5. That's the game right there. We got to get points. We didn't do that.
This really was a kind of a rare, rough performance on special teams with the missed field goals, the fake punt. Weren't able to break any returns. What was it that was really lacking on special teams?
Well, the fake punt's my fault. At this point, we've got zero momentum. We did not execute it well at all. Still may not have worked, but it's a calculated risk. And at that point, the way the game's going and the momentum all is on their favor, trying to create a play. Luckily, defense ended up making a play over there and getting the interception that kind of gave us some energy later. But that's a calculated risk. Love to have it back at this point because it didn't work. We didn't execute it well either. To me, this comes down to playing a team that's physically better than everybody we've played to this point. Matchups were better for them, and they executed better than we did. The better athletes, the better matchups you play, the better you need to execute. And we were sloppy in most phases today, including special teams. And it showed. We could not gain any momentum, with the exception of just a couple instances where the defense made some plays to try to create it, but we didn't pay it off offensively either. We settled for field goal tries or had to punt in almost every one of those situations. You've got to go down and get the ball in the end zone. We've done that in previous weeks. We didn't do it today.
So, Coach, on that fake punt, was that something that you were planning on trying, like in halftime? You were planning on maybe trying if the situation came up, or was it more spur of the moment?
No, we've had it worked, and based off the way they were lining down on us strategically, if we block it correctly and execute it well, it's got a reasonable chance of success. We didn't. We just didn't execute it well. It's still a risk. I know that going in, but at that point in the game, where we're at and how we're playing, and just how much everything is a struggle trying to create a spark. So we've run similar fakes in the past and from the same area of the field and had huge success and gone on to win games. It just didn't happen today. So that's a risk that I'm willing to take in that particular situation, and just didn't pay off today.
Coach, how does this affect your game plan going into BYU next week?
None. We just got to learn. We got to get better. I think we've exceeded a lot of expectations early, and today expectations are high, and we didn't meet it. Ours or anybody else's. Nothing changed. We're going to work. That really hasn't changed, even with the success we've had. we've won games but not played our best. We still not played our best football yet. I'd like to see a team that does. Hopefully we can get that done next Friday night. Obviously the opponent's going to be, a phenomenal football team, and we're going to have to play our best. But the process doesn't change. Work to get better, and we have a lot of improvement left ahead of us.
This is going to sound a little bit like a crazy question, but this had a different feel than most USU Boise State games because, I mean, you were competing with them, no doubt about it. It's just all those self-inflicted wounds. So, I mean, if you clean that up, ultimately, how much can you build on something like this?
Well, that's the frustrating part. It's you can always hold your head up high. When you play a really good opponent, you play your best ball, you come away with a close loss, they just, they made the plays. But when you don't execute and you self-inflict problem after problem after problem, it's hard to be really encouraged about anything. There are no moral victories today. Yeah, I feel like we can play with that team. We did not do it today, and obviously there's not a whole lot of we can say other than we've got work to do. But I never felt like our guys were intimidated. I've never felt like our guys gave up. We just did not play good ball, and against a good team, it's a lopsided win.
Again, that's the coach after the game up in the locker room. You know what's the bad part of that is where they interview him right in the Spetman Auditorium. Boise State, you can hear him celebrating like crazy in their locker room down below. You have to listen to that.
That's not fun.
No.
Coach cannot love that. But look, that's a team that we heard from some of the Utah State players earlier this week that Frank Maile and Stacey Collins were on the other side, and they were going to be happy to see him. No ill will there, but I think it was a revenge game for the Boise State team doing it for Frank. Mm-hmm. And I think that there may have been a little added motivation on their sideline to get this one for Frank Maile.
I mean, obviously, Ryan, you talked about how much you love Frank, and they tried to downplay when we talked about Frank Maile with Boise people this week. They tried to downplay it, but there's got to be some of that there that that those players played for him for this game, I would imagine.
Sure. I mean, Frank's just that type of guy. If you're around him long enough, you respect him. He brings the best out of people, and kind of the way it went down with him here was really unfortunate. So I'm sure that there was a little bit of that on the other side. But, Frank would never say anything. I'm sure he never talked about it 1 second with his guys. So at the end of the day, I didn't feel like they came out super excited or like on fire or anything else. Like, really, this game was so weird. Like, I would rather play Boise again next week than Air Force. Mm-hmm. All day. So, I mean, when would you say that you'd rather?
Because we could not stop and we couldn't contain Air Force. We'd have to keep outscoring them. And today we couldn't score.
No. It was a really interesting Boise team, frankly. I mean, they're a tough team. They're going to win some games in this conference. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get beat another 1 or 2 times. I mean, they're just not what they've been in the past in terms of just completely dominating teams. And we played really bad, and we were still in this game all the way to the end. So they're going to have to play better than that to win in this conference this year.
27-3, the final. Hayden joins with us on our Aggie Call postgame on KVNU and The Fan. Again, brought to you today specially by Beehive Grill. Go ahead, Hayden.
Yeah, just a couple things. First off, I was very impressed with the defense. I thought the defense played well enough for us to win that game. We seemed to be able to stop them for the most part when we needed to. Obviously too many mistakes on offense. And I think, 2 things on offense that kind of hurt us. One is it seemed like we always had bad field position to start, our drives. I think we had one that we started after a good punt return, but for the most part, it felt like we were starting from inside the 20. And then the second thing is I think that the Duke quarterback thing that we've kind of tried out kind of reared its ugly head today. And I just think moving forward, this team would be better off with a fixed quarterback that they know is going to be throwing them the ball on every drive. And I get, trying to use Peasley in some certain situations because of the speed and things like that. But I just feel like it's hard to get any momentum as a quarterback and as a team if every time you go out on the field, you've got a different quarterback working the ball. So, anyways, just a couple thoughts.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thoughts on what Hayden said, guys?
I agree with him on the two quarterback thing. We need to pick a horse and ride him. But I think that's Bonner. I think the offense flows better with him. But please get the quarterback runs out of the package and bring Peasley in occasionally, situation-like. I mean, I look at it like, New Orleans Saints. Like, bring in your dynamic running quarterback when you're in the red zone.
Taysom Hill.
And run some, like wildcat type stuff. Run a play. If it works, great. If it doesn't, get him back out. Put
Boise
Bonner back
State
in.
put their guy in at the end of the game. He didn't score, and then they brought Bachmeier right back in.
Right. So I like that.
Certain packages.
Yeah, certain packages. Bring him in. Certain situations, I like him because his legs do bring another element that Bonner does not have. But in terms of spreading the ball around, moving the offense, having command of the offense, I think it's definitely Bonner.
I think one thing we also learned through Coach Anderson's comments there is that the fake punt was designed. It wasn't an audible. It wasn't a breakdown that Kotzenle just kind of went wild. That felt like it was a calculated risk. Certainly did not work well at all.
And, it didn't work well at all.
Just, I mean, I still don't understand why you would. If you see some stuff, okay, but not on that part of the field. I mean, you're so far backed up, and you're gifting them points at that part of the field.
And
I just
what he
don't
did
understand
say,
that.
He said it had a reasonable chance. I don't like that.
No.
You've got to think that, hey, we're calling this, we've worked on it all week long, and not reasonable chance. I don't like that. I like, for sure this is going to work, and you got to put it to the guys that have it that way.
Yeah. The one maybe silver lining in that, because it was probably the worst fake punt I've ever seen, ever. But I do love the fact that he's willing to take risks.
And he's still willing to take risks, and it's done that. And I think we need that.
Yes.
For our team.
True.
I want our head coach to instill that type of attitude in the football team, that we're going to go win games, because we all know there was a decade of Aggie football.
We punted on third down,
where we tried not to lose, where we went to prevent.
Yeah,
at 3rd and 5, and we went into prevent.
Yeah, we did an attack punt on second or third down before.
So yes, I will take us being risky. Now again, I don't like the situation. I don't like the position on the field. I mean, that was, in my opinion, a bad coaching play. But I do like the attitude, and I like the mentality of being aggressive.
Game Day on KVNU brought to you by LSS Insurance, 169 East, 1600 North. But call them at 752-9493. Set up an appointment for all your insurance needs. Appreciate them joining with us today. Again, 27-3 Boise State, another win against the Aggies. They've won 22 consecutive conference openers. Our first September loss. We'd won 11 straight games because we didn't play any September games last year. We'd won 11 straight in September until we lose today to Boise State. And we will come back with more of Game Day. Again, we also go on our Game Day coverage today, let you know about Beehive Grill today, and Will's down there.
It's the post-party, as we're calling it. It's happening at Beehive Pub and Grill, and if you're looking for a way to just kind of try to wash that bad taste out of your mouth from today's game, come on by. We've got of course, the full drink menu and the full menu here at the Beehive Pub and Grill, 255 South Main. We're talking with Molly, and earlier, you were telling me about a new shrimp menu that has just been released by Chef Dustin. And what are some of the recommendations from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of our seasonal menus again. I absolutely love our shrimp and lobster ravioli. It's fantastic. So we stuff it in-house. It comes with fresh asparagus, tomatoes, lobster beurre blanc, sweet corn, and basil, as well as a soup or salad. And it's absolutely fantastic.
Now, this is a seasonal, so you want to take advantage of this right now. It's not one of the regular menu items, so it'll only be around for a little while. Plus, on top of that, you can finish it off with some of these peach desserts that are just to die for.
Absolutely. I am utterly obsessed with our peach Napoleon. I cannot get enough of it. It's amazing.
Now, also, if you're just looking for a great dinner idea for tonight, bring the family down. And what's one of your favorites off of the menu?
I really recommend the King Kobe burger. So we make it with domestic Kobe beef from Snake River Farms in Idaho. Our house-made onion jam, blue cheese aioli, bacon. It's to die for.
And if you have not had their Philly cheesesteak, it is one of my recommended favorites. I order that every time I come here. We are at the Beehive Pub and Grill, 255 South Main in Logan. Come on by.
I'm here with Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical. Jay, I hear your ads for CPAP resupply all the time. What do I need to do to just get that taken care of?
It's easy. We can set up your CPAP resupply within a few minutes. We'll work out all the insurance for you, and then we'll start mailing the supplies straight to your door. You can even chat with a CPAP specialist online. Just visit us at alpinehomemedical.com. We'll have you sleeping better in no time.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Advanced Heating and AC is honored to be named gold medalist for the best of Northern Utah in the AC HVAC category. They were named silver medalist for place to work and remodeler contractor. They thank you for your votes of confidence in their company. You have many choices when it comes to your home's heating and air conditioning system. Make sure you choose the gold medal winning company, Advanced Heating and AC. Call 752-7272 or stop by their showroom west of DI. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
Hi, I'm Kathy with Daryl's Appliance. I'm your luxury brand sales associate in Logan, Utah. This is Dory. She is from Roth in Salt Lake City.
So at Roth Living, we have a variety of products that will help you to select your luxury appliances and a full line of Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Co. We have select products that will help you start the process of selecting your beautiful kitchen, and then you are welcome to come down to the Roth showroom. And then we work with Kathy to help you finish your selection for your luxury kitchen.
More analysis about today's game and your chance to talk about it. Call 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU. KVNU Game Day is back.
All right, Al Lewis back again with Eric Franson, Ryan Bohm. Our postgame brought to you in part by Jarek's Fine Jewelry, the place again for your engagement ring store. Everyone knows that they have that, but they also have lots of other great things for jewelry needs. Make it special, make it Jarek's. And Eric Franson is checking the text line. You got some more stuff there?
Yeah, several texts coming through. 0609. What about that third down that got switched to the second down? What happened there?
What happened was the play didn't happen because of the illegal substitution. So the play doesn't stand, so it's still the second down play. They wipe out the play, and it was just
very
the flag was way after the play was over. That's what it was. But they were counting numbers, I think, is what
and
it
the guys with the down markers were having a hard time keeping up on that. 3801 texts in. The most mismanaged game I have seen. 13 penalties, 2-minute clock management in the first half, play calling, and timeouts.
We didn't. We did let the clock. The clock was weird at the end of the first half towards the field goal, where it got a little precious there. We seemed to be taking almost too much time. We're there in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't want to give them the ball back with a bunch of time. So I don't necessarily think that they mismanaged the clock too bad in that situation. Because if we score a touchdown, we only give them the ball with 30 seconds or something. So not too worried about that. But yeah, kind of just disjointed. Like, where was the hurry up? I mean, even the hurry up was slow today. It was like we just weren't getting the plays in. And then, again, my pet peeve is, first and goal on the 5. We don't get the play in. We call a timeout, and then just nothing creative.
We run the same.
Same play.
Yes. 9948 revenge game for Frank Miley. 5180 texts in. Please comment on the fake punt deep in our own end of the field.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, the coach even did that, but again, we've already let it. It's probably. I mean, I just don't like the fact that. I mean, but at least he's willing to try. But that was not the spot probably to do it at that point. No, and it did not get executed at all. That was a big problem. Our execution today wasn't very good at times when it really needed to be good.
Yeah, a little surprising because I think that this team's been pretty good with their executions. But penalties, substitution penalties, just stuff that's administrative. I mean, those are the worst kinds of penalties. Yeah. If a guy's like holding or a little aggressive on a pass, you can kind of live with that. But administrative penalties are like, why? I mean, that's on coaching.
Yep, agreed.
Another question, 7842. Where is Devontae Henry Cole?
He is not even among the top 4 running backs.
He's just been lost in the depth
I
chart.
don't know if something happened in this fall camp that he got hurt and behind, but he's never been involved. And we really can't go to practices. They've kind of still closed those for COVID and things like that. So have no idea how he's doing, but he's not among the top group. Even Makakona played today at running back and then got a penalty on a special teams play. But
to touch on that, I'm not a fan of running back by committee. I don't like it. If you have 2 guys, I can kind of live with that. But 4, 5, like the Gentry run up the sideline, if that was Tyler,
he might have
he scores a touchdown.
Yeah, right. Gentry couldn't keep it.
Had
couldn't
the
outrun
spacing
him.
And
would outrun him.
Noah and Makakona, like those guys are not going to break a touchdown for us. So don't run the read to them in the middle of the field. Like, if Tyler's not hurt, I mean, he had 20 carries, which that's touching the ball a whole bunch. But, like, he's our guy. And he's the most explosive back we have. If we're going to go 3 and out, at least one of those plays, let's give it to our most explosive guy that can run the ball. So I don't like the fact that he comes in for a series and then he sits for 3 series because we got to get these other guys in. Like, there's no question in my mind he's the best guy.
I don't think Devontae Henry Cole would be any better than Calvin Tyler at this point. I don't think that. I think we watched enough of him last year and saw him at Utah and things to think he's any better than Calvin Tyler.
No, so. I feel like, they're preaching conditioning, they're preaching this, that, and the other. Like, keep those guys in there. If it's Tyler and Gentry, awesome. Those are our 2 guys. Let's ride them all the time. But go into the 3rd, 4th, 5th guy. And then it's almost, we're not wasting it down. I don't want to say that, but it kind of almost feels that way. We're going to get 2 yards when we give it to Noah. No disrespect to him.
He did have the one breakaway today and got 35 yards on 1 carry to get him, 46 for the game, 48.
Yeah. But why would we do that if they're healthy, if they're good? Let's keep him in the game.
And if it's Tyler on some of these breakaways where maybe Gentry and Noah were running, like you're saying, he may have scored a touchdown.
Right, he'd get away from them, and the defense couldn't catch him. I mean, there was a couple of those plays where he's got enough room, there's enough grass around him, and it would have been gone.
Speaking of Calvin, he was post-game after the game answering questions at the stadium, and let's go to that.
Calvin, what made Boise's defense the hardest thing you play against this far this season?
If I'm being honest with you, I don't think that was the hardest defense. I think Air Force was probably the hardest defense, and at the end of the day, like Coach said, we just didn't execute it like we usually do on offense. So I don't think they did nothing special to really stop us. We just hurt ourselves on a lot of drives.
Calvin, when the quarterbacks are rotating, kind of like they had to today, you're looking for momentum, looking for a spark. Does that change any, as a skill position player? Do you approach the drive different? Does it feel different when you're rotating quarterbacks? Does it maybe disrupt the rhythm at all for you?
Don't disrupt no rhythm. I feel like both of them guys good, and both of them guys can get in and execute which they have done and which they showed. We trust both of them guys. That's why Coach does it like that. And right now, we just got to execute, regardless what it is, who's in the game. We trust both of them guys.
I mean, you really have been a bright spot this season, even this game. Running hard, getting around the corner, not fumbling. Just how much confidence are you gaining game by game?
I'm getting a lot of confidence. I talked to my pops about this the other day. This is the most football I played in like the last 3 years. So it feels good to be back out there. Regardless, I can't take all the credit. That's my O-line, the guys on the outside blocking too. And just things we practice ball security, just finishing drives, finishing the run. So.
Calvin, this game was different than a lot of Boise State games in the past because it looked like speed-wise and physicality-wise, you guys were with them a lot better. I guess this is your first year here, but and you outgained them in total yards. So how frustrating is it to maybe play-by-play look pretty solid, but at the end of the day just lose by 3 touchdowns?
Like Coach say, against really good teams like that, you got to execute. Because to me, I don't think they're the most talented, but like they got a lot of 5-star, 4-stars, or whatever more than us. But other than that don't matter. We just got to execute them games, and that's all it is too. We just got to execute.
Again, that's Calvin Tyler from up at the stadium. Again, after this 27-3 loss by the Aggies on game day. Trevor wants to join with you guys on our Aggie Call postgame. Again, it's 753-5868, 753-KVNU. Or again, the text line is 435-339-0321. But go ahead, Trevor.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to call in. Last week I was pretty critical of the defense. They gave up a lot of big plays, but this game they did a good job not allowing that many explosive plays and gave our offense a chance. It was kind of frustrating, though. It seems like Boise would have 4 linemen and 1 linebacker in the box, and that really took away all of our passing options. And then our run game was good, just not good enough. So, I don't think it mattered if we had Bonner or Peasley in there. I don't think our receivers were either we were running the wrong plays, weren't prepared for them, or guys just weren't open. So hopeful the team can keep their momentum. And, they still got a winning record, even though this was a tough one to lose, and especially tough playing a good team next week. But hopefully the coaching staff can do a good job of keeping the guys juiced. Go Aggies.
Okay, Trevor, thanks for calling in. I don't know if there's anything really we have to comment on that. Anything else in the text line area today?
Yeah, a couple more texts that have come through. This is from 5338. I'd like to thank Boise State Burros football for producing today's broadcast on behalf of CBS. I guess the BS stands for Boise State. Anyhow, just seemed like the game boiled down to third and long offensively. Game ball on the defense, though, to Nick Henninger. He was outstanding.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, you pointed out Nick and his great play. 5452, throw the ball out of bounds when you've already lost 10 yards on the play. Don't field the punt at the 1 yard line. And what on earth are they doing faking a punt on their own 10 with a horrible play on top of the fake? Run right into their defense. So, yeah, there were some frustrating plays today for sure. This was from 2603. I was hoping to see some adjustments at halftime, but that quickly went to bed early in the third.
Again, Boise got the ball. We stopped them for their first real big punt situation, I think, that we kind of put on them. And then we turned around and ran the fake punt after Tyler run from the 6 yard line out to the 20. Remember, Fair caught the punt at the 6 there, and Tyler ran 20 yards, got out to 26, and then we had Tyler for zero, and then we threw an incompletion, and then did the fake punt at that point. And they went down and got a 17-3 lead on us, again, as they scored a touchdown, but they had the holding call that came back, but eventually Shakir did catch the touchdown in the end zone.
And Ryan, I wanted to ask you, and I think Trevor brings up a good point. In the first quarter, we saw Utah State with a lot of stuff across the middle that was open. There were some soft pockets there that Utah State was taking advantage of, and then we didn't really see it until really the last drive. Did you see adjustments that Boise was doing defensively, or did Utah State just outsmart themselves trying to do something different?
I think there was certainly some adjustments at halftime. It looked like they were baiting us to run the ball. Somebody had mentioned that there was a time where there was 5 in the box, and we weren't running the ball effectively. I mean, you have to run the ball if there's 6 in the box. If there's 7 in the box, you probably should run the ball. So 5 in the box, you have to run the ball, and we just weren't being effective. Because, you have 5 linemen. You have everybody blocked. And even if you kind of block somebody, you should get 5 yards. So I think they made a conscious effort to take away our pass game in the second half. And then our running game just wasn't effective enough. And I felt like we stopped attacking the middle as well. So I think it's a combination of both. Boise made some adjustments. For whatever reason, we kind of went away from it. But you have to run the ball. If you have 4 down linemen and a middle linebacker, that is 5 yards every play all day long, no question. And again, I don't like the read zone scheme because it develops so slowly that those safeties can come down into the box even if they're out of the box pre-snap. If you run the ball power downhill, by the time they come down, you're already 5 yards down the field.
And that seems to be where Tyler has been much better this year on those plays than on zone read type plays, for sure. Okay.
True. A couple more comments coming from our text line. Let's see. I think the most disappointing thing about the game today is the fact that I realize no matter how good we are or how bad Boise is, we will never beat them. I don't know about that. Aggies have beat them before, but it's a rare feat, that's for sure.
It was 12. It was what, 12, and then it was now 5. So that's bad, and it continues to be bad. The series is 21 to 5 now for Boise State.
4086. How many times did we have our momentum stop either by penalties or dumb referee mistakes? I don't know that there were a lot of referee mistakes.
Well, I mean, again, there was a real clamor. People weren't happy about the pass that was forward. But again, teams are really smart to run any kind of little fly sweep or toss sweep with the action going forward rather than backwards, because then it can be construed as a forward pass, and it was on review in the game today. The one play there where it looked like the Aggies maybe recovered when they were down towards the goal line.
Yeah, it looks like Bachmeier just has it and just tosses it up in the air.
He just left it is really what it did for the guy. But it is,
and the action of doing it, his arms do slightly move forward.
So
you
it's
have
like
to look
the
at it
shovel
in slow
pass
motion,
or whatever, those kind of things. You do have to get that. Why shouldn't we, in our system, get Devin Tompkins involved like they get Shakir involved in our system? Ryan, wouldn't that be a good idea?
Absolutely.
Snapping the ball once in a while, or run some more, or fake reverses, or have him in motion looking like they're tossing it to him and he tosses it back to somebody else, or what? Wouldn't, because Devin Tompkins is a weapon. We got to get the ball in his hands.
Tompkins should get 10 touches a game, no question. Scarver, another person that you could get on the fly sweep action. I mean,
they tried to throw 2 to him today, and they were kind of well covered on the sidelines, and he tried to jump and catch the ones.
Let's be honest. He is not a possession receiver.
No.
He does not want to come across the middle. He's a straight line speed guy. So, own that. Put him on the outside and go deep with him, which we didn't do. I don't understand that. And so, again, I feel like we're not going to the strength of some of our guys. Scarver can outrun these guys. So give him a shot or 2 a game. We want to get the ball. Tompkins has to touch the ball 10 times. So if you're only going to throw it to him 4 or 5, you got to get him the ball another 5 touches. Because, that's what Boise does with Shakir, for sure. They're like, we have to get him the ball 15 times a game. However we're going to do it.
Yeah. And he showed it today in just enough. We got him 2 or 3 times where he didn't do anything. But again, when he did do something, it was big, and they were able to get him out there. All right, one final break. And we'll be right back again. We'd love to have you join with us again. It's 753-5868, our phone number. Aggies lose 27-3 to Boise State today. And the game going to the fourth quarter is still a 17-3 game, or 17-0 game. And then the Aggies scored right at the start of the fourth quarter to make it 17-3. But that was as close as they got today. So not a second-half comeback this time, and not a double-digit comeback for the Aggies in this game. So game day on KVNU, brought to you in part by Daryl's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson. Again, one-stop appliance shop. Experienced salespeople, famous appliances, and repair parts. And the in-house warranty department is perfect there. And we're also, again, going down to Beehive Grill again one more time during our postgame.
Yeah, it's the post party. It's going on right now here at the Beehive Pub and Grill, 255 South Main. And this one's been a little tough for Aggie fans to swallow, but we're trying to sweeten it up a little bit, give you something positive from today. We're here with Molly, and I think what everybody's excited about is the desserts that you guys have come up with that have a little local taste to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few seasonal desserts right now made with our local Brigham City peaches. So we have a peach Napoleon with those fresh peaches, our house puff pastry, pastry cream, and it is absolutely delicious. I highly, highly recommend it. We also have our peach upside down cake, which is a little slice of heaven. It's absolutely fantastic. We bake it fresh to order with our house-made peach gelato as well, and it's absolutely incredible.
We could all use a little bit of heaven right now. And speaking of heaven, we got to talk about gelatos, because we're sitting right over here by the gelatos, and there's just the line of people, and they're just drooling over those. They're so good.
Absolutely. We actually make them in-house weekly. It's quite a process, but we really commit to it and make it so the flavors are just the best possible.
And a lot of those, if you come in, like, say, for example, last week, this week you have new flavors.
Yes, they do rotate. We have our standbys, but we really try and bring some new flavors to the party as well, make sure that we keep things fresh for you.
All right, and if you're looking for a great dinner idea for tonight, what would be your favorite from the menu?
I would probably say our chicken fried chicken. It's absolutely amazing. We soak the chicken in buttermilk, bread it to order, and then our mashed potatoes and gravy are all made in-house, ready to go for you, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, sounding good. We're here at the Beehive Pub and Grill, 255 South Main in Logan.
Colonel? Good morning, sir. I see you found a way to keep our cannon out of the mud. Pavers, sir. As a mason, I used to lay them for courtyards and patios. Brilliant. Thank you. They hold up beautifully no matter how punishing the conditions. I can see that. Say, after the war, think you'd be available to pave my patio at Mount Vernon?
Stone pavers from Castellite really catch your eye. Do it yourself with the expert help at Castellite. For all your brick, block, rock, paver, and tile needs, go where the pros go. Castellite.com.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A few nights ago, my wife Amy and I were at a movie in Lewiston. It was late, so when we got out, we drove around a little bit. What did we notice? Every light in Lewiston was on. Nobody was sleeping very well. The next day, I checked my computer at My Mattress to see how many people in Lewiston were sleeping on an IntelliBed. The answer I found? Not many. Lewiston, I thought we had this figured out. If you want to sleep soundly, you gotta buy an IntelliBed. Only at My Mattress.
Hi, this is Brent Wallace with Cache Valley Bank. We love supporting local events like the Cache Valley Parade of Homes happening September 30th through October 9th. As you tour these beautiful homes, we invite you to visit our recently renovated Cache Valley Bank branches. Show your parade ticket and receive a complimentary sampler box of Bluebird chocolates. Visit one of our 7 locations from Smithfield to Hiram, including our mortgage office. Stop by during the Parade of Homes, meet our staff, and pick up your free chocolates. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Medicare commercials on TV are confusing and seem to offer amazing coverages and options. Unfortunately, national companies don't know our network of doctors or hospitals. At LSS Insurance, Medicare is what we do and what we know. We are your local advocates for the best options at the best prices, and we'll be here to service all of your needs. To get the correct information about Medicare, call LSS Insurance at 752-9493 or Google LSS Insurance. We're a local independent agency with answers you need about Medicare.
The home for Aggie sports. News Talk KVNU. 102 FM and 610 AM.
And, of course, the Fan as well joining with us here post-game. That's in at 106.9 FM and 1390 AM. So we try to simulcast on the Fan our KVNU game day before and after every game. We'll be back again this next Friday night for the BYU game. Then we'll have high school football, and then we'll be back on after BYU and the Aggies like we are today. And you can join us again with a text at 435-339-0321, or you can call us at 753-KVNU. Again, Eric Franson and Ryan Bohm with me, and we appreciate Beehive Pub and Grill being with us today on our post-game coverage as well on this Saturday, where Boise State wins 27-3. Incidentally, Western Michigan leads San Jose State 20-3 in the fourth quarter of that game back at Western Michigan. Iowa leads Colorado State in the second quarter, 7-0. All of a sudden, Colorado State's been a little bit tougher in the last little bit after the way they started. And here's a shocker to me. UConn 13, Wyoming 3 with about 4 minutes left in the second quarter. UConn has been horrible this year. And San Diego State leading 20-7 over Townsend State with about 4 minutes left in the first half of that game. So that's the other conference scores at this point. What else?
A flat shootout last night with Fresno State and UNLV.
38-30. Got back to a one-point game. UNLV led 14-0 in that game. And I'll tell you what, the Hainer guy is really a terrific quarterback for Fresno State. But they did come back and win 38-30 eventually.
Well, and I think actually that should be something that Aggie fans don't get too down on this team yet, because Boise has a really tough Mountain West schedule to still go through. So even though the Aggies lost to Boise State, the opportunity to be the Mountain Division champion is still possible, because Boise State still has a rough schedule ahead of them.
If they lose 2 and we only lose 1 in the conference, and they've got San Diego State and Fresno State both.
They do. So. A couple texts that have come through, Al, on our text line. This is from 2776. Tompkins was double covered all day, couldn't adjust to it. Cornerback at the line and number 0 over the top.
Okay, that's the Skinner, the safety, who's their hard hitter.
Yeah, he was good. 4086, it looked like past coach offense. Run, pass, punt. run, pass, punt, I should say. There were, especially in that second half, the offense just wasn't as aggressive throwing the ball around. And part of that was a change in quarterback that led to that.
And that's the thing. We Bonner has been effective, and then Peasley's been effective, and we've never really felt like, I think, that we're worried about second down and nothing or third down, because we've been able to make plays. And maybe you do have to give Boise a little more credit today on making some plays on their third downs that we weren't seeing some other teams play against us. And obviously we were playing a better defense today in the game. So let's see. Should we get to A.J. Von Vachong? Should we do that? Post-game, he had just a short moment or two with the media after the game. And here's what he has to say. And this is brought to you by Castelite. And we'll talk about our Castelite Rock Solid Player of the Game today. Remember, you can always reduce your DIY stress for all of your needs as far as tile. And then, of course, the stuff like brick for building and block and rock and pavers, all available from Castelite.
You've played in previous games against Boise, obviously. How was this one different for you, reflecting on other games you played against them?
Yeah, I thought, they weren't the most physical team on the field today, or even the most talented team. I felt like my guys were there step by step. It was just a lack of execution by us. On defense, including myself, we can all get better, and just got to learn from the film and get ready for the short week.
As Trent mentioned in his question to Coach Anderson earlier on, the front seven did really well today. You played well, and Nick was wreaking havoc today. How much can you build on that, especially after how things went against Air Force last week?
Yeah, stopping the run was a huge emphasis, especially after our game against Air Force. And, so in practice, we just really emphasized that throughout the whole practice. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of good things, but still we need to get better on defense, just to help out the overall team.
AJ, what's your responsibility as a veteran in the locker room? This is your guys' first loss of the season. What's your job to kind of keep everyone, their focus and just their overall desires just not dropping?
Just letting everyone know that the mission is still the same. A lot of those guys in the locker room were here last year, and it's very different from last year. Those guys know that to keep their heads up and get ready for this next week.
How much does next week's game mean to you guys? Obviously, BYU is one of your rivals. How much does that game kind of, not take precedence, but how much does it mean to you to get to play in that game?
Yeah, especially after this game, we just want to get this bad taste out of our mouth. So, I know a lot of the guys are ready to work, and come back. And so every game's a big game for us, so it'll be a big.
What was it? I would assume it was Coach Collins probably recruited you here. He did a lot of work there in the Pacific Northwest. What was it like seeing him on the other side of the field and being in that situation?
He was one of the coaches that recruited me. There was a few others, but it was different. But at the same time, it had no effect on us, especially a lot of the other guys who got recruited by him. We just treated it like a regular game. I said hey to him after the game and stuff, but preparation-wise, felt no different.
So there is A.J. Von Vachong, again, our inside linebacker, who can sometimes play on the outside, too, as well for the Aggies defensively, again, after this loss to Boise State 27-3. Okay?
I really like A.J. I think he's got a big, aggressive body. I think they use him on the edge sometimes. I thought he made some really key plays today defensively.
He was trying to block on the fake punt. He was the guy who was out.
Yeah, he did whiff on that one a little bit. But I think A.J., it's fun watching his development from where he started at Utah State and where he is now.
Mm-hmm. He's a good playmaker on defense. He can make good plays and such. Justin Rice, we saw him knock down a pass on the sideline. He made tackles. I'm going to see if I can get the stats loaded in here to be able to check on that, because somebody wanted to know about tackles and everything like that for this team in this game. But again, Ryan, any thoughts about what you heard from the players after the game?
I like the way that they're acting like, Boise is not any better than them in terms of athletes. And so I really like that attitude. And I think today showed that. We beat ourselves. Now,
and the coach even said, to be honest, Coach Blake Anderson came right out and said that too.
Yeah. Now, we're going to need to play a lot better against BYU. BYU is a really hot team right now. They've got talent. They're going to execute. They're big up front. So BYU is a better team than Boise State.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
And we're going to need to totally flip the script from tonight's game. We're going to have to win the turnover battle. We're going to have more explosives in them, and we got to score touchdowns in the red zone. So, I hate losing to Boise. In the grand scheme of things, it's more important than BYU, but we needed a wake-up call. We needed to get back to the grindstone. This was going to happen. It is what it is. I'd rather have us lose to a Boise like this than go and lay an egg against Wyoming or UNLV or something like that. So those are games we have to win. But we're going to need to play a lot better coming into the Y, because they're playing as good as I've seen them play in a long time right now. That quarterback is the real deal.
And they got some swagger to them, and they're playing great defense. They really are.
They're playing good. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing better than BYU playing at home against us up in the stadium. That's the funnest environment of any game, no question. So I hope everybody just lets this one go, gets excited, talk some smack, come out and ruffle some feathers next Friday night with the Cougs.
Well, and Utah State can watch tonight's game in real time. I mean, they can scout BYU
South
as it's
Florida
happening
tonight.
And get a little bit of our idea there. We got a text in from 4086. Tell me what we do to beat BYU. And be honest, I think we're answering the question as he asked
We're
it.
going to have to play a game where you play almost perfectly, and you're going to have to. If you ever get a chance at getting a ball in a turnover, you can't have it go off your hands. You're going to have to convert. Again, you're going to have to score touchdowns when you get a chance in the red zone and not rely on any kind of things like that. And it's going to have to be a really, really good game by Utah State. They're going to have to play better than they played against, they're going to have to play offensively like they played against Air Force, and defensively they're going to play even better than today to have a chance.
Yeah, so. And it's not, this is no, Goliath scenario. Like, we can beat that team, but they're better than Boise. So we're going to have to play a heck of a lot better than we played today. Coach says, hey, we haven't played our best game yet, not even close. So what a better time than to put it all together and click on offense, on defense. And then, like you said, Al, we had a handful of opportunities today to make plays. It's like if McGriff holds on to that one and doesn't go off his fingers and
for the
get
interception,
picked, we had a couple opportunities for us to get interceptions that went off guys' hands. Those are just plays that we have to make in order to win a game against a team that's better than us.
Text that did come through, 235 rushing, 208 passing, 3 points. Brent Guy era redux. No offense, Ryan.
Well, but did your teams ever get that much yards?
I don't know
3 points, Ryan.
I don't know that they got that much off.
I don't think we got those.
I don't think we ever got those many yards.
Okay.
And then 4086. Another quick question. Injuries. I don't remember there being anything serious. A few guys went down, but I think they were able
to come back.
All able to go off on their own power.
They seemed to come back. Boise might have had a few more guys that I don't know if those guys returned or not. Okay, Rice ended up with 10 tackles and had 1.5 tackle for a loss. Von Pachong ended up with 9 tackles today. Shaq Bond had 7. I thought he was in there a lot. Henniger did have the 2.5 for tackles for loss, and he got the sack in the game. A Johnny Carter interception. He did get the 1 penalty in the game for the face mask there, but he also did hurry the quarterback and did some things from that spot. I don't know. Maybe Cash Gilliam. I don't know if he came back towards the end of the game. We'll have to wait and see on that situation. He was one who was out, but I think most of the guys did get it off the field themselves. So those are the defensive stats. And Gilliam had 8 tackles.
9 tackles for loss. The defense did some things.
Mm-hmm.
Defense did some nice things. It's just
9 tackles for loss.
Too many self-inflicted
Look at Boise State. 6
penalties and
6
miscues.
PBUs. We had 5. I thought theirs were really effective when they got them for their 6 pass deflections in the game, pass breakups. The game, I thought that was big for them.
Separate man from ball. They did a really good job of that.
Okay, so I think we've mentioned most of the stats. You just mentioned the numbers for the team a few minutes ago. First downs were actually Boise 25-18, and they ended up with the ball almost 10 minutes more than the Aggies, just mostly because of the end of the game in the fourth quarter and the second half, because it was a lot different there. And, of course, the turnovers were 3-1 in the game. That turnover the Aggies got against Boise State, Carter's interception, the first they got against Boise since they had 8. against Boise and win against them. So you got to obviously have to turn over the ball and take it away from them to have a chance to win. So that'll finish it up for tonight, or this afternoon. We always say tonight, and it's not even 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Boise's now 5-0 and playing games at 10 o'clock in the mornings as well, which is kind of an interesting deal. We've never played a home game, I don't think, this early. We've been on the road before at this time. Cache Valley Bank always brings you the stats. They have branches in Smithfield, North Logan, in front of the mall, downtown Logan, Hiram, Cache Valley Bank, and they're expanding even more and growing with their roots are planted firmly here in Cache Valley. So, guys, we'll see you with BYU next week then.
Take care. Go Ags.
Short week, but they can do it.
And again, it's BYU tonight against South Florida. We mentioned the other games going on. A few early games in college football. Of course, the big one was Wisconsin and Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame eventually won that game today. University of Utah, they were playing this afternoon, wasn't it?
They're playing right now against Washington State.
Yeah.
They came in Salt Lake City.
Let's see if we can maybe check on that score here real fast.
I think it was pretty close earlier. I'm not exactly sure where it sits right now.
Let's see here. We've got Washington State 13-10 over Utah in the third quarter. Utes are reading a little bit more than maybe a lot of fans thought that they would do this season for sure.
Surprised quarterback gets benched and then he decides to leave the team. Yeah.
Again, appreciate Beehive Pub and Grill for joining with us also post-game today. It was nice to have them join with us, and we will be returning again to our regular programming next hour here on KVNU. Thanks for joining with us today. And again, appreciate Ryan Bohm, appreciate Eric Franson, appreciate the texters, the callers, and also, of course, being on the fan besides on KVNU. So we'll be back again next Friday night with our game day coverage here on KVNU of the Aggies and BYU coming up.